Shalom, this is Injili ya Milele ya Ashwa Messiah, and I, the one who will be with you, I'll be your hostess, Ron Evans. Thank you. Much welcomed from Nairobi, Kenya. We don't take anything for granted. And here is Ron Evans, name order Hakirot Kami, Yahweh do you good. As you continue to subscribe and also to share, to comment, and also to share with others. Welcome. Zeariyah chapter number 1. In the 8th month of the second year of the which the word of Yahweh came to Zeariyah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo the Nabi, saying, Yahweh was very wroth with your fathers, and you shall say to them, that says Yahweh of hosts, turn back to me, declares Yahweh of hosts, and they shall turn back to you, declares Yahweh of hosts. Do not be like your fathers, to whom the former Nevi'im proclaimed, saying, that says Yahweh of hosts, turn back now from your evil ways and your evil deeds, but they did not obey or give heed to me, declares Yahweh. Your fathers, where they are, where are they? And the Nevi'im, that do they live forever? By the words of my laws which I commanded my servants. And the Nevi'im said, did they not overtake your fathers? Then they turned back to Yahweh, they turned back and said, as Yahweh of hosts planned to do for us according to our ways and according to our deeds, he has done with us. On the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Shebat, on the second of the year of the Revesh, the word of Yahweh came to me, Zeariyah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo, Nabi, saying, and I looked in the night and saw vision, and a man looking on a red horse, or riding on a horse, red horse, and he was standing among the matter trees in the shade, and behind him was the horses, the red shoulder and the white. And I said, my master, what are these? And the messenger who was speaking to me said to me, let me show you what they are. And the man who stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, they are the ones Yahweh has sent to go through the earth. And they answered the messenger of Yahweh who stand among the myrtle trees and said, we have gone throughout the earth and see all the earth is at peace and rest. And the messenger of Yahweh answered and said, O Yahweh of hosts, for how long will you have no compassion on Jerusalem, on the cities of Yehuda, and against you were enraged these 70 years? And Yahweh answered the messenger who talked to me good words, comforting words. And the messenger who spoke to me said to me, proclaim, saying, thus says the Master Yahweh of hosts, and I have been jealousy of Jerusalem and Zion, and a great jealousy. Verse number 15, it says, as this continues, according to Hallelujah scriptures, in order of the Tanakh, and in every, I am very wroth with the nations who are at ease, for when I was little wroth, they fathered the evil furthermore. Therefore, thus says the Master Yahweh, I shall return to Jerusalem with my compassion, my house shall be built in it, because Yahweh of hosts, and survivors line be stretched out of Jerusalem, and proclaim, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, and again, my city shall be overrun with goodness, and Yahweh shall again comfort Zion, and shall again choose Jerusalem. And lifted up my eyes and looked and saw 4 horns, and said to the messenger who was speaking to me, what are these? And he said to me, these are the horns which have scattered Yehuda, Israel, and Jerusalem. And Yahweh showed me 4 craftsmen, and I said, what are these coming to do? And he spoke to me, saying, these are the horns that scattered Yehuda, so that no one lifted up his head, but those the men come to trouble them, to throw down the horns to the Gentiles, and lifted up the horn against the land of Yehuda, and to scatter it. The book of Zeariyah chapter number 2, verse number Ekada. And I lifted up my eyes and looked and saw a man with a measuring line in his hand. And I said, where are you going? And he said to me, to measure Jerusalem, to see what is the width and what is the length. And the messenger who was speaking to me was going out, and another messenger was coming out to meet him. And he said to him, learn, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem is to be remain unwalled because of the many men of and livestock in need. For I myself, and to hear declares Yahweh, a wall of fire all around, for I esteem I am in the Hamidis, and free from the land of the north, declares Yahweh, and I have scattered you like the 4 winds of the Shamaim, declares Yahweh. O Zion, escape you who dwell on the daughter of Babel. For that says Yahweh of hosts, for the sake of esteem, he sent me to the Gentiles who plunder you. For he who touches you touches the apple of my eye. For look, I am waving my hand against them. They shall become spoil of the servant for their servant, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for look, I am coming and shall dwell in your midst, declares Yahweh. And many Gentiles shall be joined to Yahweh in that day, and they shall become my people, and I shall dwell in your midst, and you shall know that I am Yahweh of hosts, has sent me to you. And Yahweh shall inherit Yehudah, his portion in the Kadesh land, and he shall again choose Jerusalem, who shall roll flesh before Yahweh, for he has lost himself out of his Kadesh dwelling. Zephaniah chapter number 3. And he showed me Yeshua, the Kohen Hagadol, standing before the messenger of Yahweh, and Satan standing at right hand, and be adversary to him, and said, Yahweh said to Satan, Yahweh rebuke you, O Satan, and who has chosen Jerusalem rebuke you. In this not a blood plucked from the fire. And Joshua was dressed in the filthy garments, and was standing before the messenger. And Yasani spoke to those who stood before him, saying, remove the filthy garments from him. And to him he said, I see him remove your guilty from you, and you shall put costly robes on you. And I say, let them put a clean turban on his head. Then they put a clean turban on his head, and they put the garments on him. And the messenger of Yahweh stood by, and the messenger of Yahweh witnessed Joshua, saying, thus says the Master Yahweh of hosts, you walk in my laws, and if you guard my duty, then you shall also rule my house, and also guard my cause, and I shall give you access. Among these standing here now listen, Joshua the Kohen Hagadol, and your companions who sit before, for they are men of symbol. For look, I am bringing forth my servant the branch. See, the stone which I have put before Joshua, on one stone of the 7 eyes. See, I am engraving an inscription, it declares Yahweh of hosts, and shall remove the guilty of that land one day. In that day, declares Yahweh of hosts, you shall invite one another under the vine and under the fig tree. Zechariah chapter number 4. And the messenger who was speaking to me came back to me and woke me up as a man is awakened from a sleep, and he said to me, what do you see? And I said, I have looked, and see a lampstand, and a gold, and a bowl, and the top of it anointed 7 lamps, and 7 spots to 7 lamps, and 2 leaves, olive trees, and by it one of the light bowl, and another in its left. Then I responded and spoke to the messenger who was speaking to me, saying, what are these, my master? And the messenger who was speaking to me answered and said to me, do you not know what these are? And I said, no, my master. And he said to me, this is the word of Yahweh to Zerubbabel, not by might nor by power, but by Ruach, said Yahweh of hosts, who are the great of the mountain before Zerubbabel, and a praying, and he shall bring forth the capstone without, and favor, and to it. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, the hand of Zerubbabel and laid the foundation of the house of his son, and shall complete it, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me to you. For who has despised the day of a this day of a small beginnings? They shall rejoice when they see the plumb line in the hand of the Zerubbabel. The 7 are the eyes of Yahweh, which diligently search out throughout the earth. And they responded and said to him, what are these? 2 olive trees, and on the light on the lampstand, on the other and its left. And I responded a second time and said, to what are these of the 2 olive branches, which empty a golden oil themselves, with which means of the 2 gold pipes? And he answered to me, said, do you not know what these are? And I said, no, my master. And he said, these are the 2 anointed ones who stands beside the Adon of all the earth. Zechariah, the book of Zechariah, chapter number 5, verse number 1. And I lifted up my eyes, and again, and I looked, and I saw a flying scroll, and he said to me, what do you see? And I answered, I see a scroll, flying scroll, 20 armor, and long 10 armor wide. And he said to me, this is the curse that goes forth over the face of all the other. Everyone who is stealing shall be cut off, and the one side according to it, and everyone who has sown falsely shall be cut off on the other side according to it, and they shall send it out, declares Yahweh of hosts. And they shall come into the house of the chief, and the house of the one who shall swear falsely by the name, by my name, and he shall remain in the midst of the house, and shall consume both its timber and stones. And the messenger who was speaking with me came out and said to me, lift up your eyes now and see what is this that goes forth. And I said, what is this? And he said to me, it's an ephah measure that is going forth. And again said, this is the appearance throughout the earth. And see the reed cover lifted up, and this a woman sitting inside the ephah measure. And he said, this is the wickedness on and he withdrew her down into the ephah measure, and drew the reed weight over its mouth. And I lifted up my eyes and looked and saw two women coming out to the wind, with the wind in the wings, and the hand wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up an ephah measure between the earth and the Shamaim. Then I said to the messenger who was speaking to me, where are they taking the ephah measure? And he said to me, to build the house, for it is the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and rest there on its own base. Zechariah chapter number 6, verse number I heard, and I lifted up my eyes again and looked and saw 4 chariots coming down between the 2 mountains, and the mountains were the mountains of bronze. With the first chariots were the red horses, and with the second chariots black horses, with the third chariots white horse, and with the fourth chariots strong speckled horses. So I responded and said to the messenger who was speaking to me, what are these, my master? And the messenger answered and said to me, these are the 4 spirits of the Shamaim coming down from the forth from the presenting themselves before the Adon of all the earth. The one with the black horse is going to the land of the north, and the one with the white going to after them, and the speckled ones going out and the land of the south, and strong ones, and the strong ones went out to eager to go to walk and flow into the earth. And he said, go and walk to and from the earth. So they walked and go to and from the earth. And he called to me and said and spoke to me, saying, see, those who go toward the land of the north have given the rest to my work in the land of the north. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, receive the gift from the exile from Heldai, Tobiah, and Yediah, who had come from Babel. Then you shall go the same day to enter the house of Yeshua, son of Zephaniah. And you shall take the silver and gold and make a crown and place it on the head of Yeshua, the son of Yezadok, the Kohen Agadol, and shall speak to him, saying, thus is the Master Yahweh of hosts, saying, see, the man whose name is the branch, and from his praise he shall branch out, and he shall build the Hekal of Yahweh. Is he who is going to build the Hekal of Yahweh? Is he who is going to bear the splendor? And he shall sit to rule in his throne, and he shall be a Kohen on his throne. And the counsel of the priest shall be between them both, while the crown for its remembrance of the Hekal for Yahweh of Herem to Tobiah and Yediah, to Hen son of Sediah. And those who are far away shall come and build the Hekal of Yahweh, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me to you. And this shall be if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh, you are Elohim. Zechariah chapter number Sheva, verse number 1. And in the 4th year of the sovereign of Darius, it came to be that the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah of the 4th of the 9th month, Kislev. For now Beit El had a sister with Regemelech, and he is meant to pray before Yahweh, speaking to the Kohanim who belong to the house of Yahweh of hosts, and to the Nebi, saying, should I weep in the 5th month of the and fast as I have done for so many years? Then the word of Yahweh of hosts came to me, saying, speak to all the people of the land, speak to all the people of the land and the Kohanim, and say, when they fasted the 19th, the 5th, and the 7th months of these 70 years, they not truly fast for me, and for when you ate, you drank, and was it not for those eating, for those drinking? Are these not the words which Yahweh proclaimed through the former Nevim when Jerusalem and the cities around it were inhabited, and in safety in the south and Yitro and country were inhabited? And the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah, saying, thus says Yahweh of course, judge the right ruling, show kindness and compassion everyone to his brother. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless on the stage of the poor. Do not plot evil in your hearts against one another, but you refuse to listen. And they struggled their shoulders and stopped their ears from hearing. And they made their hearts like the flint against hearing the Torah, and the words which Yahweh of hosts has sent to his work through the former Nevim. Therefore, the great wrath came from Yahweh, and it came to be, as he called, they did not hear. So let them call, and they shall not hear, says Yahweh of hosts, and they scattered them with a storm wind among all the Gentiles with which they had not known, and the land of which they laid waste behind them, no one passing through or returning, for they made the pleasant land to be waste. Zechariah chapter number 8. And the word of Yahweh of hosts came to me, saying, Thus says the master of Yahweh, I shall be jealousy of Zion, and greatly jealousy, and the great wrath shall be jealousy for her. Thus says the master, I shall return to Zion, and shall dwell in the midst of Yesharim, and Yesharim shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of Yahweh of hosts, Kodesha mountain. Thus says the master of Yahweh again, old men and women shall dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, each one with his staff in his hand, because of the great age, and the streets of the city shall be filled with boys and girls praying in the streets. And thus says the master of hosts, and it's marvelous of the eyes of the remnant of these people in these days, and it shall be marvelous in my eyes, declares Yahweh of course. Thus says the master Yahweh, and of course, see, I am saving my people from the land of the sunlight, and from the land of sunset, and I shall bring them back, and they shall dwell in the midst of Israel, and they shall be my people, and it shall be the Elohim in truth and in righteousness. Thus says the Yahweh of hosts, let your hands be strong, you who are listening in these days to the words of the mouth from the mouth of the Nebim in the day of the foundation was laid from the house of Yahweh of hosts, the Hekal that was to be rebuilt. For before these days there was not a wage for a man, nor a higher beast or a beast, or no peace of him who went out or came in. Because of these enemies, they return men of one against another. But now I am not as in the former days to the remnant of these people, declares Yahweh of hosts, because of the sowing of the piece of vine give its fruit, the ground gives her increase, and Shamaim give her due. And I shall cause the remnant of the people to inherit all this, and it shall be as you were cast among the Gentiles, O house of Yehuda and house of Israel. I shall save you, and you shall be a barakah. Do not fear. Let your hands be strong, for that says Yahweh of hosts, and I purpose to do evil to you when your fathers provoke me, declares Yahweh of hosts, and I did not relent. And so again in these days I have purposed to do good in Israel and to the house of Yehuda. Do not fear. These are the words that you should do. Speak the truth to one another, judge the truth, and write ruling for peace of your gates, and do not prevail in your heart against one another, and do not love false oath. For all this I hate, declares Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh has of course came to me, saying, Thus says the master Yahweh of hosts, the first of the month, and the first of the fifth, and the feast of the seventh, the first of the 10th, to be joy and gladness and praise and appointed times of the house of Yehuda, and they shall love the truth and peace. Thus says the master Yahweh, the people shall come, inhabitants of man, and sit in the inhabitants of the one go to another, saying, Let us earnestly go and pray for Yahweh, before Yahweh, and seek Yahweh of hosts. I myself I am going, and my peoples and strong nation shall come to seek Yahweh of hosts in Jerusalem, and to pray before Yahweh. That says the master Yahweh. In those days 10 men from all languages of the nations shall hold, and then shall take hold of the edge of the garment of a man, a Yahudi, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. Zechariah chapter number 9. The message of the word of Yahweh against the land of Adarak, then Damascus and its resting place, the eye of man, and all the tribes of Israel are on Yahweh, and Hamad also borders on it, so Al and Sidon. And though they are wise, though they are very wise, for Soal built herself a tower, heaped up silver like the dust, and gold like the mud of the street. See, Yahweh shall dispossess her, and shall destroy her power and sea, and she shall be consumed by fire. Ashkelon and Sis and the fear as that too with in anguish, and Ekron and the expectation has dried up. The sovereign shall perish from Azar, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited, and half of her breed shall settle in Ashdod. And so I shall cut off the pride of the Pherishite, and shall take away his blood from his mouth, and the abomination from between his teeth, and he shall remain, even he, to our Elohim, and he shall be like a reader to Yehuda, and Ekron like a Yebushay, and they shall encamp around my house against army against him who possesses him, from whose returns to that oppressor, passes through them again. For now I have seen with my eyes. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. See, your sovereign is coming to you. He is righteous and endowed, and deliverance, humble, and riding on a donkey, and a colt for a fallen donkey. And they shall cut off the chariot for Ephraim, the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace to the nations of, and his rule is from sea to sea, from the river to the ends of the earth. And also because of the blood of your covenant, I shall send your prisoners out of the pit. Return to the stronghold and prisoners in expectation. Even today I declare and return double to you. For I shall bend your order to me, and I shall fill the bow with Ephraim. And I shall stir up your sons in Zion, and against your sons, O Yawan. And I shall make you like the sword of the mighty man, and Yahweh shall appear before them, and his arrow go forth like lightning to the Adon Yahweh, sound of the lamps, and he shall go with whirlwinds from the south. Yahweh of all shall shield them, and they shall devour and trample on sling stones, and they shall drink roll as if with wine, and they shall be filled like basins, like the corners of the altar. And Yahweh, the Elohim, shall save them in that day, and the flock of these people. For the stones of diadem sparkling over his hand, for what goodness is that what comes free is grain, what make the young men thrive, and new wine to the maidens. Zeariyah chapter number 10, verse number I had. Ask Yahweh for rain. In the time of the latter rain, Yahweh makes the storm clouds, and he gives them showers on the land and the plants in the field of everyone. For the household idol spoke emptiness, and the diviners so falsehood, and great dreams and deceit. They comfort in vain, therefore they have wandered about like the sheep. They are afflicted, for there is no shepherd. My wrath burns against the shepherds. I lay a charge against the raiders, for Yahweh of hosts shall visit his flock, the house of Yehudah, and make them like his splendid host in battle. From his camps and the cornerstone, from his tent peg, from him the battle bow, from him every ruler together. And they shall be like the mighty men who trample down the mud of the streets in the battle, and they shall fight because Yahweh is with them. And the riders on the horses shall be put to shame, and they shall make the house of Yehudah mighty to save us, the house of Yosef, and it shall bring them back, because I have compassion on them, and they shall be as tough as I have pushed them again aside. For I am Yahweh the Elohim, and I answer them. And Ephraim shall be as the mighty man of the Yah. And their heart shall rejoice as if the wine, and their children shall see and rejoice. Their heart exulting in Yahweh, and they shall whistle for them and gather them, and they shall lamson them, for they shall increase as once they increase. Though I saw them among the people, they shall remember me in places far away, and they shall live together with their children, and they shall return. And I shall bring them back from the land of Mizraim, and gather them from Ashur, and bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, until no more room is found for them. And he shall pass through the sea and distance, and strike the waves in the sea, and all the depths of the river shall dry up, and the pride of Ashur shall be brought down, and the scepter of Mizraim be taken away. And I shall make them mighty in Yahweh, so that they walk up and down in his name, declares the Master Yahweh. Zeariyah chapter number 11, verse number 1. The word of Yahweh continues to say, according to the Hallelujah scriptures, this is the word of Yahweh. Shalom, brethren. Welcome as we continue to read the book of Zeariyah. Chapter number 11, open your doors, O Lebanon, and let the fire devour your cedars. How cypress the cedar has fallen because of your mighty has lived, and how oaks of Bashan. For the dance of forests has come down. Listen to the whoring of the shepherds, to the splendor of the revenge. Listen to the roaring and lions of the pride of the Alden is revenged. Thus says the Master Yahweh of my Elohim. Feed the flock for slaughter, those owners of the slaughter who and feel no guilt, and the sellers say, Baruch be Yahweh, for I have become rich, and their own shepherds do not spare them, for I shall no longer spare the inhabitants of the land, declares Yahweh. But see, I am delivering up mankind, each one into his own neighbor's hand, and into the hand of the sovereign. And they shall crush the earth, but I do not deliver from the hand. And so say I shepherd the flock meant for slaughter, and truly poor for the flock, and took for myself 2 staffs, and no one called for the pleasantness. And the other I called unity, and they shepherd the flock. Then I sent off them the shepherds to 1 month, for my being despised them, and they being also loathed me. So I said, I am not shepherding you. Let the dying die, and the straying stray, and let those who are left each to others fresh. And I took for my staff pleasantness, and cut in two, and break the covenant which I have made with all the people. So it was broken on that day, and the poor of the flock who are watching me knew that it was the word of Yahweh. And I said to them, if it is good in your eyes, give me my wages, and if not, refrain. So they weighed off my wages 30 pieces of silver. And Yahweh said to me, draw into the potter and spend in price which I was valued by them. And I took 30 pieces of silver and threw them into the house of Yahweh for the potter. Then I cut into the other staff of unity to break the brotherhood between Yehuda and Israel. And Yahweh said to me, take again the implements of the foolish shepherd, for I am raising up for a shepherd of the land who does not visit this thing, nor seek the young, nor heals those that are broken, nor feed those that are still stand, but he is the fresh of the fat of tears, the Yahovs. Woe to the worthless shepherd for stalking the flock. Let the sword be upon his arm, and upon his right eye his arm shall wither, and his right eye shall be dimmed. The book of Zechariah, chapter number 12. The message of the word of Yahweh against Israel. Yahweh stretching out the Shamayim and laying the foundation of the earth and forming the spirit of man within him declares, I am making Jerusalem and cup and revealing to all the people all around, and also against Yehuda, as it is to siege against Jerusalem. And in that day shall be, I make Jerusalem and the people and the heaviest stone of all the peoples. They shall eat it severely injured, and all the nations of the earth shall be gathered against it in that day. Declares Yahweh, smite the horse with Benuit and its rider with the madness in the house of Yehuda. I open my eyes on every house of the peoples, they smite with blindness, and with the readers of Yehuda, and all shall the heart and the inhabitants of Jerusalem and the strength of to me, though the host of the Elohim. In that day make the readers of Yehuda like the fire pot among the trees, and like the torch of the fire ships, and they shall consume and all the people all around, and the light and of the hand and the left, and the Jerusalem shall dwell again in its own place in Jerusalem, and Yahweh shall save the tents of Yehuda. First on that comeliness on the house of David, and the comeliness of the inhabitant of Jerusalem, and not become greater than that of Yehuda. In that day Yahweh shall shield in the inhabitant of Jerusalem the feeble among them. In that day they be like the David in the house of David, like Elohim, like the messenger of Yahweh before them. And it shall be in that day that I destroy the Gentiles and come against Jerusalem, and shall pour the house of David and the inhabitant of Jerusalem spirit and favor and prayers, and they shall look upon me and the peace, and they shall mourn on him the most, is the only son, and they shall be bitterness over him and bitterness over the firstborn. In that day the morning Jerusalem is going to be great, like the morning at the Hadem and the Limon in the valley of Megiddo, and it shall be mourn, and every clan of itself, and the clan of the house of David itself, and the women themselves, and the clan of the Nathan itself, and the women themselves, and the clan of the house of David and itself, and the women of themselves, and the clans of Shem in itself, and the women themselves, and the rest of the clans of every clan, and itself, and the women by themselves. Zechariah chapter number 13. In that day in the fountain shall be open of the house of David, and for the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the sins of the uncleanness. And it shall be in that day, declares the Yahweh of hosts, that I cut off the names of the idols from the earth, and they shall be remembered no more. And I shall be remove the prophets and the unclean spirit from the earth. And it shall be when then his father and mother and brought forth, and they say to you, you shall not believe, and because you have spoken falsehood in the name of Yahweh and his father and mother, and brought him forth, and it shall pierce him through and when Nabah, and it shall be in that day that the Nebim shall be ashamed everyone his vision when the Nabah and did not put a hearing and drop in order to be deceived. And but he shall say, I am not a Nabi and a farmer, and for a man and sold as a slave a slave in my youth. And all of my shall say to him, what are these and those in my hands? And he shall say, because I wanted them home, and those who love me and sold awake against the shepherd and against the man who was compassionate, declares the Yahweh of hosts, and smite the shepherd and the sheep and scattered. But I shall turn my up and hand upon the title, the little ones, and they shall be brought on all the land, declares Yahweh, and the 2/3, and they cut off and die, and 1/3 is left therein. And they shall bring the fire to the refine, and the silver and refine, and try them as gold and tried, and they shall call on my name, and they shall answer them, and they say, this is my people, and when they say, this is my Yahweh, this is my Elohim. Zechariah chapter number 14, verse number 1. See, a day shall come for Yahweh, and your spoil will be divided into your midst, and they shall gather, and all the Gentiles be against Jerusalem. The city shall be taken, and the house and plundered, and the women divided, and half of the city go into exile, but the remnant of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And Yahweh shall go forth, and he shall fight against the Gentiles, and fights in the day, and in that day his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall be fringed into two, and for the east and the west, and the very great valley, and half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and toward half of it toward the south, and you shall flee from the valley of the mountain, the valley of the mountains, the riches, the Ulster, and you shall flee as you are feeling from earthquake in the days of Uzziah, the sovereign of Yehuda, the sovereign of Yahweh, my sovereign, and Yahweh, my Elohim, shall come to the Kodesh of you. In that day it shall be, there is no light in the dark, and it shall be on one day in the noon, and year to Yahweh, neither day or night, day evening, and there shall be a light in that day. There shall be living waters, and from Jerusalem and half of toward the eastern, and sea of the east toward the western, sea the summer was well as the winter, and Yahweh be sovereign over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yahweh, and with his name one, and that land shall be changed to the desert from Geba to the more and Shiraim, and it shall be raised up and inhabited in her, and praise from Benjamin, and gate and praise from the first gate unto the corner gate, and from the tower on her near, and the white praise on sovereign, and they shall dwell in her, and there shall be no more utter destruction of Jerusalem, and be set free inhabited in these people in spring, in which Yahweh breaks, and all the people who fought against Jerusalem, and they are fresh, and they decay when they stand on their feet, and their eyes decay on their sockets, and the tongues and decay in their mouths, and it shall be in that day that great confusion from Yahweh among them, and everyone who shall side in the hand of their neighbor, and shall give up to the race against the neighbor, and Yehuda shall fight, and Jerusalem has dwelt and bought and wealth and gentles and all around, and gathered together in gold, silver, and garments, and in great quantities also at the break of the host of the moon, and the camel and donkey, and all the cattle, and all the horses, and all the camps in these breaks, and it shall be that all are left from the Gentiles on the dangers, and come up against Jerusalem, and go forth from